Hey guys, what is going on? This is Travis P11. I'd like to welcome you back to the channel, and today we're going to show you how to disassemble and clean the Ruger LCP II. This particular pistol is chambered in 22 long rifle, 22 LR. Disassembly and cleaning for the Ruger LCP II 380 may be similar to this model, but I really can't tell you because I don't have one. But it should be pretty close. So anyway, we're going to go and talk about the supplies that you need to clean this pistol. It's really not that difficult, but for a lot of people, there's people that are picking these up as carry pistols or a second gun or whatnot. And so it doesn't take much to clean. It doesn't require a whole lot. So let's get started. First things first, you're going to need some clean cotton patches. You can cut up an old cotton t-shirt if you want to, or you can buy cotton patches at the store. That's what I do just because it's easier to use for the channel. But they're a little pricey, but if you cut up your own, it works just fine. Some sort of a cleaning rod comes in handy. This will help us clear out the magazine well area. Not always necessary, but if you carry the gun a lot, there's a lot of buildup you can get inside the grip, especially if you are in a sandy or dusty environment. So a single piece cleaning rod is going to work just fine. I think this came with one of my Glocks. Q-tips also come in very handy to get in some of those little smaller crevices, especially with such a small slide. You have a little more fine detail work that you have to do versus a regular pistol. So Q-tips definitely very handy to have around. You're also going to need some sort of a small flat screwdriver. This is just a little tiny one like you use on tiny screws or small screws. The smaller the better because you're less likely to scratch the finish on the pistol or scratch the polymer. This little one will actually just pop it out just fine. I'm not sure if this is for watches or what it's for, but I've had it in my toolbox for a long time. Now to actually clean the barrel itself, you have a couple options. You can get yourself a single piece cleaning rod, put a bore brush on it and go from the rear to the front of the barrel and clean out the bore, run a barrel swab down it, and so on. Me, it seems like a bit of overkill, but I'll be using a 22 long rifle bore snake for this. 1 or 2 passes through the barrel should take care of it. Now, the gun itself is not very dirty from the factory. In fact, I haven't shot it yet. Typically, they are factory fired, so it's a good idea to get any kind of manufacturing grease off of them. I do have a couple spare magazines for them. I know that they're a little bit sticky, so we're actually going to start off with these. We're not going to disassemble them. We're just going to wipe them up quick, and then we'll go ahead and get into the pistol. But first of all, let's make sure that the firearm is safe and secure and ready to be disassembled. So go ahead and press the button to eject the magazine. Okay, magazine's empty. Pull back on the slide, check the chamber, verify that it is empty. Okay, we're good to go. Go ahead and set that off to the side. Now when it comes to cleaning the magazines, the less oil you can use to clean them, the better. The oil itself I'm going to be using is Cleanse oil. It is probably hands down one of my favorite overall cleaners. It's nice because it doesn't leave a very greasy residue. It doesn't take a whole lot. It smells good. I do wear gloves because a lot of these are petroleum based, and I don't know if it's going to matter in the long run, but I just always do. So that's up to you if you want to wear gloves or not. I do just to protect my hands. Okay, so go ahead and put a little dab of that Cleanse oil or cleaner on the patch, and you can see how a brand new unfired factory magazine can even be dirty. Look at that, pulling off some of that maybe minor oxidation or some of the finishing grease that gets on it. And again, these are brand new magazines, have not been fired yet. If you get any oil on the follower on the top, you want to make sure you wipe it off with a dry patch. I like to get up there underneath the feeding lips just to make sure that they get nice and clean. Okay, we'll wipe off the third magazine here. These were a little sticky out of the package, so I don't know if they used some sort of assembly grease on them or something, but they definitely needed to at least be wiped off one time so that you're less likely to attract a lot of dirt and grime to them. Okay, we'll just set that off to the side. Probably want a few spare paper towels too to clean up your hands while you're doing this. Let's just go ahead and hit them with a clean patch and take off any excess residue that's on those magazines. Okay, and just set them off to the side when you get done. Okay, so the actual disassembly of the pistol is pretty simple. We've verified that it's empty. Okay, we've taken out the magazine. This one's a little bit different from some of the other pistols out there. It's kind of the same idea, but a bit different. You've got a small pin right here that needs to come out. So you want to take a tiny screwdriver and you're going to just put it behind the pin, between the pin and the slide, and just go ahead and tilt it. It'll pop right out. Pull the pin out. Okay, take the gun off safe and go ahead and take the slide right off. So that is essentially how you disassemble it. What I like about this pistol is that the disassembly, the way the pistol runs, I think this has a lot to do with the reliability. It's very much like a modern handgun. It's got the tilting barrel design. It's got a standard recoil spring and guide rod. Okay, so why don't we go and start off with the frame and then we'll take care of the slide. So you've got your frame right here. Obviously it's not very dirty. You can see we've got some metal rails in here. There's a little bit of grease on here from the factory. Just put a little bit of Cleanse oil or CLP or REM oil on a patch and wipe out the top, wipe out the inside. Okay, get your fingernails in between these rails right here. There might be a little bit of some powder residue buildup in the front from being fired. These little 22 LRs can get really dirty really quick. There can be a lot of fouling that can happen sometimes. But again, this one's just a piece of cake to clean. Okay, a little bit of oil here in the rear. There's two different sections on the rails. Okay, just want to put our fingernail in there and go all the way down. You can also put a Q-tip down there if you want to. A little cotton swab action. Okay, we just simply scrubbed it a little bit. You don't need a lot of oil to do this. Okay, there we go. All right, now put a drop of oil on each side of your cleaning patch on your cleaning rod, and just go ahead and put it down the, well, we can go from the top to the bottom, and scrub out the inside of your pistol grip, okay? You'd be surprised with how dirty this gets. Now, from the factory, it's probably not going to be very dirty, but if you carry it enough, you're going to get a buildup of some pocket lint, and here's some dirt. Be a little bit careful because you've got your ejector right here. You don't want to break that off or get it caught when you're cleaning it. Okay, so go ahead and take that out. There's a little bit of dirt on there, a little bit of oil on there. All right, and now we're going to run a dry patch down the magazine well. We really don't need to leave any excess oil in there. In fact, the least amount of oil we can keep away from the ammunition, the better. So just down the magazine well, go ahead and run your dry patch. Seems kind of pointless, but trust me, after you use the gun enough, it's going to make a difference. This little takedown disassembly pin, just go ahead and wipe that off with some oil. Now, the cleanse oil, you can wipe it on and you're basically good to go, or you can wipe it on and wipe it off and then add it again for lubrication if you want to. You can do it as a single step or a double step method, just depending on your preference. Me, I'm going to put just a little dab of lube here on a Q-tip, on a cotton swab, and we're going to go ahead and just run that down the rails. Make sure that your contact points have some oil on the top and the sides. On the inside, you can put just a little bit back here on this hammer, I guess you could say. And on the sides right here also, run your swab down the sides again. Try to keep that in the light so you guys can actually see it. It's a little hard filming a all black gun on a white background, so there we go. Okay. All right, go ahead and set your frame off to the side. That is all cleaned up and ready to go. All right, so disassembly of the slide is very, very easy. It's just like a regular pistol, a regular semi-automatic polymer pistol that you might own, or all-metal pistol that you might own. We're going to zoom in on that a little bit. Go ahead and pop off your recoil spring and guide rod. Now, this is not captive. Captive means it's contained within one piece. It's not. You can pull out the guide rod. So go and pull that out and just wipe it off with a patch with a little bit of oil on it. And then go ahead and hit it with the dry patch. There you go. It's still going to leave a little bit of residue on it, enough to keep it lubricated, but you don't want it super lubed up. Okay, set that off to the side. Go ahead and wipe off your recoil spring. This spring, I don't think it makes any difference. The side that you disassemble it or reassemble it, we should be okay. On some pistols, it can make a difference. Okay, we'll set that recoil spring. We'll dry the recoil spring off with the dry patch. Okay, now that's taken care of. Just set that off to the side. Okay, so go ahead and just pop the barrel out. Just push on the bottom and tilt back. It comes right out. Go ahead and wipe the barrel off with a little bit of oil. You can leave just a light coat of lubrication on the barrel when we're done. That's definitely not going to be an issue. Go and wipe towards the rear. You're going to get a buildup back here, so you may want to scrub that with a toothbrush or a bore brush. You'll start to notice a bit of a buildup around the edges here of the bore. Okay, you also want to get just a little bit of lubrication down here on this hinge point, this little gap right here that you have. Get down there and just get a drop of oil down there. There we go. All right, now what I like to do is to just run some oil down the barrel. Just let that sit, let it kind of sit there for a few minutes and marinate. It's going to soak in a little bit. We'll come back and hit that up with a bore snake here in a second. Okay, pull the barrel off to the side. All right, your slide, we will take a patch with some oil on it and just go ahead and wipe out the inside. If it's tiny, you might have to use maybe your pinky finger. You want to wipe off the front portion here where your firing pin comes out. By the way, with the magazine in this pistol, you can dry fire it. It's not an issue. As long as the magazine's inserted in, and I know with 22 LR pistols, it's sometimes a no-no to dry fire because you can have problems with the ignition bar that strikes the back of the bullet, the long rifle cartridge. But for this one, it says that you can, in fact, dry fire it. So we're going to do that after we reassemble it and make sure that the gun does function. Just dry fires, okay? Go ahead and put your pinky down here in the end of the barrel. Okay, scrub that out a little bit. There we go. Now this is way more oil than we're going to need inside here. So let's tell you what. Let's pull the camera back here. There we go. And we're going to go ahead and just wipe this out with the dry patch. There's enough residue that's going to be in here. There's enough lubrication that it's going to function just fine. Okay. Go ahead and wipe off this front portion where I guess you could say your striker area is right here. Okay, just go ahead and scrub that out a little bit. If there's any kind of residue or any dirt, it's going to definitely come out. Okay, that looks nice and clean inside. Okay, it looks good. All right. Take yourself a Q-tip with a drop of oil on it, or a couple drops of oil, and go ahead and just put those inside the channel of the tracks here where the frame is going to ride. There's a little gap in here that you can run that down. Okay, it's going to be right on the inside of the slide. There's a bit of a channel here that you can oil up. Okay, I like to put just a little bit here on the top portion right here. There you go. Kind of clean out the inside a little bit. Again, the real nice thing about the cleanse oil is when it dries, it doesn't leave a lot of residue on it. It doesn't leave it all oily and gross. It just basically leaves just the right amount of lubrication that you're going to need to ensure that your parts are clean. Okay, so go ahead and set your slide off to the side. All right, now we've already got oil in the barrel, so whenever you run a bore snake down your barrel, they tell you to put a couple drops of oil on the bore snake itself. We've already got oil in the barrel, so we really don't have to worry about that. So to use the bore snake, it's pretty simple. I like these. They run about 10 bucks at the store. This one's made for a rifle, so it's absolutely huge. But it is chambered for 22 long rifle, so just go ahead and drop the weight down the front. Always go from the rear to the front when you clean your barrels. And we're just going to pull it through like 2 times, and then we'll take a look at the barrel and make sure it's nice and shiny and clean. There we go. Okay, we're going to run that through one more time, and it should have just a light glaze of oil in it, and that'll protect the inside of the barrel so that it doesn't, nothing happens to it. Now this looks like it's a stainless steel barrel, so we shouldn't really have to worry about any kind of corrosion or anything like that, as long as it's got just a little bit of lubrication on it. There we go. It's nice and shiny. Don't see any residue down there. All right, let's go ahead and move on to reassembly. We're basically at the point where we can reassemble the pistol. All right, so for reassembly, what you want to do is just put the slide down the way that you see it right here. Just drop your barrel in and lock it back into place. You want to make sure that it's going to look like this when it's upside down, or if you have it right side up, this is how it should sit, okay? If your barrel looks like this, or it's back, or it's poking out of the top, obviously that's not the way that you want to leave it. So it's going to go right back and just rest up against the middle portion of the slide here. Reassemble your guide rod and your recoil spring. Okay, put the guide rod back in the spring, and it's going to go in this little area right here where there's a tiny hole. Just push that in like such. Okay, push it forward. And there's a cutout on the rear of the barrel. Here we go. There's a little cutout right here in the rear of the barrel. There's a bit of a dip, little arc shape there that the guide rod's going to snap into. There you go. See how it looks from the side there? If you have an angle, if it's pointing up or pointing down, you're going to have some problems with reassembly. You can see how it looks from the front here. Should not be protruding out of the front when it's reassembled. In fact, it should just stay together like this, no matter how you hold it. Okay, now reassembly with this little takedown pin. Just make sure you don't lose the takedown pin, so it's important to have that handy. You're basically just going to put the slide back onto the frame like it was before you took it apart. Okay, it's going to look just like this. There's a little spring right here that's going to be pushing up. This is basically the spring that keeps the disassembly pin locked into place. You're going to have to push that down as you push the pin through, and when it goes through and snaps and becomes flush or in its previous position, you know that it is where it needs to be. You might have to push back on the slide just a little tiny bit. It'll pop and snap into place, and it's going to look just like that. So if you keep pushing and it's not going, pull back on the slide just a little tiny bit. You might, that little notch where the barrel is, you might have to get the pin to go through there or just underneath of it, and it's all set to go. Unfortunately, there's no little hole or any kind of indicator on this side to tell us if the pin is inserted properly. There you go. Take your clean magazine, empty magazine, double check the chamber. All right, go ahead and cycle it a couple times and make sure it's going to go back to its normal position. If you have any problems, go through disassembly and reassembly like we just did. Okay, it's very easy to manipulate the slide on this thing. Okay, put your magazine in. Go ahead and pull back. Okay, it's going to pull back and lock open, which is what you want it to do. Okay, disassemble your magazine, drop the slide, put your magazine back in. Okay, again, confirm, empty, and you can dry fire. There you go. Okay, you can do it a couple times if you want to. If you have some snap caps, some dummy rounds, you can practice with those if you want to. Test the safety, make sure the safety works. Okay, that basically detaches the trigger from activating the sear. Okay, turn the safety off. There you go. Gives you a chance to really practice with that trigger. It's got a nice trigger on it for a little 22 LR pistol. And that is basically it. Just go ahead and wipe off the outside of the pistol with just a couple drops of oil on a patch. And you can always wipe off the excess if you want to. Again, you don't need to over lubricate your guns. That's the worst thing you can do for the pistol because it's going to attract a lot of dirt and grime. But the first time you clean it, there may be some, manufacturing oil and all that other fun stuff on it. And that's it. That is the disassembly and cleaning of the Ruger LCP II 22LR. Again, the 380 may be similar to this. Hey guys, make sure you like and subscribe if you like this video. Go back and watch it again if you ever want some help down the road with disassembly and cleaning. I got a bunch of disassembly and cleaning videos. Also got a podcast I do called Caliber Corner that is on Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. Central Time, so make sure you check it out over there on YouTube. Otherwise, I think that's about it. So guys, have fun, be safe, like and subscribe, and as you know, we will talk to you soon. All right, take care, guys. Bye-bye.